What's up guys, Mark Samuels here with SLR Honda. We have our Baja 1000, actually our Score International racing machine that we race down in Baja, and we're going to go through this whole thing, so hopefully hit everything that you guys have questions about. Alright, so starting at the front of the bike, I guess one of our most important things is lighting for Baja, not just for at nighttime, but for safety as well. You know, making sure that people see you coming is a very important thing, especially if you don't have a helicopter out there or anything. So we have a XL80 setup in a 450L visor. Provides us enough light if we need to ride at night too. It's a really good setup. From there, it goes back to an X-Trig triple clamp, which these are the dual setup to where you have a 22 or 24 offset. So depending on the race course, we'll switch that around, and that kind of goes into the suspension where we have factory Showa supported suspension, full kit stuff, front and rear. We do make a couple changes if we do 24 or 22 offset. It's nothing extravagant with the kit stuff, it's just kit suspension with great valving, stock lugs, like the stock standard kit. You go to the cap, so zero height on the fork, so that just kind of lengthens the front end and stabilizes everything. We run some Motion Pro bleeders because you don't want to be out there trying to bleed the forks in the middle of a pit and have a bunch of air and pop one out and lose a bolt, so that would suck. So we run the Motion Pro stuff. BRP makes a top clamp that fits on the X-Trigs that allows us to run the Scott stabilizer. That's kind of one of the hardest things to do with the X-Trig. Yeah, BRP makes that part. Full waffle ODI bars, wire tie. I mean, you just good glue, but you just never know. Water could get inside there or whatever, so it's just kind of keeping everything bonded and won't come loose for 1,000 miles. So Honda makes a really good throttle tube. That's OEM plastic, and we don't mess with that. We just stick with that. So that stuff, like on the handguards, that's more supporting the handguard. So if you whack cactuses or plants or whatever it is down there, it helps it from bashing your hand as bad. Just kind of keeps it sturdy. So we do that on both handguards and a couple of the clutch wires and the clutch lever and all that stuff. It's just one setting. We run OEM 450X wire harness, special ECU that we have. It's just one map. That's all we have. That's how we tested it, tuned it. But yeah, it keeps it very minimal with one kill switch. You don't have different map switches or anything like that. One start button, and just kind of minimalize as much as you can on the bike. It's all OEM up front. So front wheels, exactly how you buy the bike off the showroom floor, discs, axle, spacers, bearings, all that stuff's all exactly. Even the rim, like spokes, everything's all OEM. And then from there, we, obviously put nitro mousses in so you don't have flats, and we run the 82 front Dunlop tire. This tire just came out beginning of the year. It's really good in the desert. It's really good, honestly, motocross, desert, everything. So this is kind of our go-to tire that we use for off-road. The radiators, it's stock, the left-hand side stock. We put this mesh over the top, a wire mesh, just to help prevent any sticks or any rocks or anything going in and damaging the radiator. We do add a 1.8 radiator cap just for extra boiling point. The right side radiator with the cap, that's updated to an RX radiator because that helps us. We have an RX cylinder head and cam, so that kind of goes into, that's our modification that we do on our bike, is we do put an RX cylinder head and cam. Everything else is OEM stock 450X, crank, transmission, piston, cylinder, all that stuff's all the same. But yeah, so we do have a little bit bigger of a radiator, and then that allows us to run the RX head as well. So we switch the water pump cover over. We have to do some wiring to make it all work. From there, we just have to change a couple hoses, a little bit of wiring that allows this bike to adapt to the RX head. For protection wise, we have an extra layer of radiator hose across the top, just so nothing penetrates it down in Baja. Obviously there's a lot of cactuses and whatnot, so that San Diego Powerhouse builds that piece. It's just to hold the water pump cover, so with a sleeve that comes in, it helps hold that in place, and in a crash or some kind of weird incidents, it could separate. So that's just an extra brace. Really cool that San Diego Powerhouse builds that. They also build this plastic chain guide that eliminates the stock one on the other side of the motor for the counter sprocket. Really nice fit, really cleans everything up. And yeah, the Cherby's skid plate's a huge thing for us. We make sure that we switch that over. Protection's huge for Baja when you're going 1,000 miles. When we actually run a really beefy brake snake, you just never know. It's just added protection, and we even add the radiator hose onto the brake pedal. So if that gets bashed in, it doesn't bash into your clutch cover, or at least kind of gives it some absorption so it doesn't break through it. Just any little thing that we could add to add protection. protections. All pivot bolts, linkage, all that stuff's OEM, exactly how it comes off the showroom. Peg mount, all that stuff is all OEM. We do run a IMS core foot peg, the Enduro setup, and they give you a little bit more of a platform, and then you could get the sharp ones that really help with, keeping you stuck to the bike. Jamie over at Twisted helped us develop this motor when it first came out, when we got it over to the bike and figured out how to make the RX cylinder head work and all that. And then from there is a whole other tuning problem to figure out from there. Jamie was a huge help on that, and then he came up with the porting. It's really just making the whole bike run very clean the whole way through. So it's not built for top speed, it's not built for bottom, it's built to be good the whole way. It's got a 6-speed transmission. It's like an overdrive, so you don't really need to build the motor to be like crazy, like a cam, to have long distance, high speed, because you have an overdrive. So yeah, it's just a very clean, smooth running motor. IMS, we got right around a 3-gallon tank, which is very important because we get around 23 miles a gallon at race pace. That'll give us 60 miles-ish on a tank, and that it's important to have a little bit extra in case, I don't know, you have a pit every 50 miles, say, and say someone does show up or whatever, you at least have a little extra room. And yeah, it's a huge thing to have the right size tank on your bike. Those are all OEM. We do just drill a hole in them just to add a little bit of flex. The new chassis is very good, and we felt like that helped us with a little bit of control in the rear end. PC pipe, that they've been with us a long time, and with JCR before that, and developed all the stuff for Baja, so they're a huge part of developing for 450Xs. Great impact to have on the bike. It really opens it up, especially once you do all the other stuff to the bike. So PC's been an awesome group to be a part of for our off-road program. Standard length, and it's got 18 mil shaft with the A kit. All internals are all just like the A kit. Yeah, just pretty much standard, just getting the benefits of having a kit shock. We put the zip tie shark fin on there. It's an awesome piece. It's billet all the way up to the brake hanger. Helps for protection. Sucks to have a bent rear disc or anything like that. So if you have any little bit of added protection, it's huge, and those are very well made. So this is actually a new tire. It's an old tire. It's a Dunlop 739, and if you race Baja or off-road in the last 20 years, you know that's probably the tire to choose. They were very, very hard to get for a long time, but now they came back. They made a 120 in the version. The 110s are going to be a lot more readily available. The 120 is just a new one. You get a little bit of side cush, so it helps go across the rocks a lot easier. Yeah, we will go back and forth depending on sections and everything, but right now we've been testing a lot the 120 and like it a lot. Special spacers, they're rounded, so when you're doing quick wheel changes front and rear, those are beveled, so it makes it go easy in and out. No binding, so the holes in it just for lining up it a little bit. Yeah, mainly just beveled for making it easier to get in. Crazy enough with the gearing, it's 13 stock, so it's OEM front counter sprocket, 50 rear, which is 1 down from OEM, and that's it. 6-speed. This thing will hit over 100 miles an hour, no problem. You really only have to go down 1 tooth in the rear. DID ERVT7 chain, the O-ring chain, their standard, very strong tensile strength chain. That's a huge part of our program. And a Dirt Tricks rear sprocket, steel sprocket, but it's light. Those things are very sturdy and strong and last a long time. A BRP chain slider, that's just beefed up. We do beef up our swing arm as well, where the hanger is for the chain slider. We'll kind of bevel the edges of the slider so it slides across stuff a little bit better. That's a proven package over 20 years with Honda and JCR and us now. And we do run a Pro Filter air filter, standard foam, a little beefed up. They fit really good, so when we're doing quick air filter changes, it goes in and out very easily and quick, but it also gives us the protection that we need. We don't do air filter for about 450 miles, so it's a long ways. You have to have a lot of trust in the air filter. They've been backing us for the last 4 years and make a great product. The shifter, we do change it from X shifter to the RX shifter. It gives you a little bit bigger of a footprint, and then also it brings it a little bit closer for shifting, so you could get a better shift with it. Little things, but it helps with the longevity of the bike. Racing in Baja, fuel stops, we run T4 race fuel. That's kind of our choice. Even in the Grand Prix stuff in the States, we run the T4. It's a very clean, good burning fuel. Pretty close to what a pump is, but it's just a very high quality pump. Yeah, and to top it off, after everything's all built, last but not least is our graphics with Throttle Syndicate. Been with us for the last 2 years. years. They make amazing quality product. I love how they line our graphics up into our seat covers. Yeah, they do an amazing job. So if you ever dealt with any graphic companies, these guys are amazing to deal with, and they do a great job on quality. With Works Connection, it's a cable clutch on this bike. It's very important having a ball bearing clutch lever, plus also being able to adjust on the fly. You know, they have it with OEM stuff, but this is just very good quality. Everything that we do with this bike is you try to grab the most quality stuff that you possibly get and put it on, because when you're racing 1,000 miles, it's no joke to make it the whole way. So everyone that we partner with is a quality brand, and Works Connection is definitely one of them that's been there for a long time. And then the final part with the builds is Bobby from San Diego Powerhouse. He builds these things from the frame up. He was part of the development from the 2018, the Gen 1 to the Gen 2 in 2019. We worked really hard on developing this bike and he was part of figuring out how to get the RX head into here, the RX radiator, and making everything work. And he builds all of our Baja bikes at San Diego Powerhouse. You could actually go to him and pay him to build you the exact same bike. So he's a huge part of our program.